Hello, and welcome to the Retro Game Club podcast. This is Season 8, Episode 8, otherwise known as Episode 219. I am Zach, and with me today is someone joining by 56K dial-up. It's Rob.
I love the meme where they said, when we used to connect to the internet, our computers would scream in pain, and we should have known better. And yeah.
Yes. Now they're silently screaming.
All the time because they're always connected.
Yes. I was actually thinking that comes from a news item that we will be talking about in a bit, but I was thinking about earlier today, the first time that I did actually like video chat with someone. It was like 2000, 2001 maybe. Mm-hmm. And I had a T1 line because I was in graduate student housing. I had a T1 line, so that's 1 megabit per second.
Yeah,
max, right? And it was like 12 frames per second on this. I don't know what the resolution was. It couldn't have been even 480p. It was, it was
probably
240 by whatever the other dimensions, 320 by 240, something like that. But I remember. But that was really cool. It was a fun thing to do.
The days of Skype.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't miss Skype actually.
I worked with real audio and real video a lot. Like as a career, I did a lot with that stuff. Right. So yeah, and all on a T1 or T3. But what have you been up to?
First and foremost, I got a little AC unit installed here in my bedroom / office, and you can't even tell that I have it on right now. It's gently blowing cold air on me because it would get to be like 80 degrees and I'd just be sweating it out trying to record.
Is that like life-changing?
Yeah, it's great. It's the best. Yeah. And just kind of sips energy. It's not too bad. So that's a major improvement for me.
I believe it.
Yeah. And just this last week, I met up with a Discord friend, Terry Baca. I've mentioned him before. He's the guy who developed the Princess and the Portals, that game for Playdate that I got a lead tester credit on. But I also know him from the Games My Mom Found podcast Discord. But anyways, he said something about traveling across country for a work trip. And I was like, where to? And it turned out to be here. And so we just met up, had a coffee, caught up. It was cool. I like meeting online friends in real life.
Yeah.
Yep.
So just far, like the 56K modem days, right?
That's right. So far, nobody's taken a kidney.
Yeah.
But I think the thing that is probably most applicable to the show was thanks to CodeMonkey WB in the Discord. He had said something about this Atari Game Station Go being on sale, and I looked at it. I was like, okay, that's not an unreasonable price, and it looked cool. So I pulled the trigger on that, and I got it. It is an officially licensed Atari product, licensed by Atari, but made by a company called My Arcade, which I don't really know that I've heard of them before. Mm-hmm. But it came in a really nice box. It was extremely difficult to open because the tolerances were so tight. Like you just lift off the upper cover. I kept checking to make sure I wasn't missing, like cutting some tape or something. It was on there really good.
So it was like airtight suction holding it on.
Yeah, basically. But it was nice packaging. It comes with a USB-A to USB-C charging cable and a power brick. But importantly, it does work with a USB-C to USB-C power cable, because nothing bothers me more than when you have a USB-C port on your device and you go to plug it in and it doesn't work because for whatever reason, I don't even know why it's allowed in the USB-C specification, but you can have a situation where it'll only charge from an A to B or A to C cable.
Yeah, that's so stupid. I feel like the EU should ban that if they already haven't.
Yes. But I know I have several things like that. And I know like one of my kids' really expensive toys has that. And like, really, you're going to cut a corner there on like this toy that costs this much money. You want to save 12 cents.
So what's your review of this?
Yeah. So it looks great. It's a little bigger than the Switch 2, not too heavy. I feel like it looks more like the original handheld Evercade with the glossy buttons and stuff. And when you first turn it on, it starts up and does a loading screen, kind of like any arcade one-up device might do. What I didn't like that I noticed immediately was that the buttons are in alphabetical order. So they're like X and Y and A and B instead of the other way around, which is, I think, almost every other controller is like that. So I kept pressing B when I meant to hit A. So I have to look. And when it's got a bunch of like 200 games pre-installed on it, and they're anything from the 2600 up to like reimagined versions of 2600 games. But I think there's some 7800 games. There's some arcade ports or not arcade ports, but the arcade games themselves. And so that's a pretty big list, and you can kind of filter, you go into subcategories and whatnot. But even then, you still have a pretty big list. And your only way to go through the list is to click the up and down on the D-pad. But there's a perfectly good trackball and spinner built into the console. I don't know why you can't just use that to scroll. So maybe there'll be an update that would address that. It did have an update actually immediately when I started it up, and it'll connect to Wi-Fi and do it all over the air. You don't have to put it on a SD card or anything. Another thing I really like about it is when you pick a game, like say you pick Centipede in the arcade, the trackball has a little light around it that lights up to let you know that that's the thing to use.
Oh, that's good.
Right. Yeah. And then if you pick like Breakout, then the spinner knob lights up. So that's pretty cool. Probably not necessary, but a nice little touch. First thing I did was play Breakout Recharged. That was kind of cool. And then I started thinking about what other games might I want to play. And I was like, well, this is a widescreen device. What happens if you are playing a Tate mode game, right? So I took Millipede, doesn't do it. It's so small because it's letterboxed.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I'd like to see updated in a software revision, a firmware revision. But I think you can do other things with it. There's an SD card. I think it will run MAME. There's other things that it can do. I haven't really delved into that. So there's probably a version of Millipede I could put on there that would play in Tate mode. But I just, it'd be nice if it was built in.
Does it have, since it's on Wi-Fi, does it have leaderboards or anything?
Probably. I think it does, actually. That kind of thing never really has interested me.
Yeah, because I'm never going to be on them.
That too. There's no point in trying to get on the leaderboards if you're not going to. Another game I tested out real quick was Tempest, which interestingly will let you use any of the controls, the trackball, the spinner, or the D-pad. The D-pad was the worst, and the trackball actually worked the best. I was surprised the spinner didn't work. It was like the it was too granular, or like the speed of the tracking wasn't good enough. Like you had to spin it a lot to get the ship to move. So that would be nice if you could adjust the tracking on that, I guess.
Cool. Well, sounds like you like it.
Yeah. Overall, it's pretty good, and I mostly bought it to give to my kids at some point to distract them when they're tired of all the stuff that they have. But haven't done that yet. Haven't broken it up.
Good. Yeah. Got to save it till when you need it.
Yeah. What about you? What have you been up to?
I saw that Mortal Kombat 2 movie, and it is definitely a Mortal Kombat 2 movie. There's nothing wrong with it. It's probably the best Mortal Kombat movie. I heard they're already making 2 more, if I remember right.
Wow.
So I think it did pretty well. And yeah, it's fine. It is exactly what you think it is. And for some reason, I watched the 90s Fatal Fury movie. It's an anime.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't horrible. It was actually more like Indiana Jones than Street Fighter.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it wasn't. I would say I've watched a lot of those like kind of cartoon anime movie, video game anime movies like Street Fighter and stuff like that. And I'd say this is probably the best one that I've seen. So I'm only 30 years late on that. With my AES collecting, which I will bring to the show sometime when I get a few more in the mail. I kind of did a bunch at once, so I'm broke. I have a prediction that Terminator, No Fate, and Masters of the Universe, which are both new games. They're both, well, I played Terminator and it's fantastic. And Masters of the Universe comes out soon, but I predict they'll both be ported to the AES. Because the company that did it has AES games they've done, and these just look like Neo Geo games. So
I'm not familiar with the new He-Man. Was it He-Man you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that new one. I am familiar with the new Terminator one. That's on my list. I want to play that.
You should. It's fantastic. And the Masters of the Universe one has the same kind of artwork. So
Okay, yeah.
kind of a beat 'em up, yeah. So it looks really good. And what else? Should we hop onto some news? Is that everything we had?
I think so.
All right. We had, I think, almost everything was your items this week.
No, right?
The first one was
Maybe.
kind of ours.
The first one, yeah.
It's weird. It's Atari Acquires Rights to the Wizardry series, but the original announcement was they acquired them, like bought the games, not actually like they actually owned the IP. And I think this first article almost alludes to it. It's really strange. And it's all because the CEO really didn't word his press release very well. But they only licensed a few of the games to do, right?
Yeah. And I'm not really an RPG guy, but I remember, like, vividly remember seeing Wizardry in like a lot of the Apple II magazines that I used to look at when I was a kid. So I'm aware of their existence and their popularity. And I think it's just interesting to see Atari making moves again instead of trying to do a crypto coin and a hotel, for example.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a universe where Atari's doing great and they're respected, and Konami as well. They're back doing cool things.
Yep.
So I can't really... Now it's really Ubisoft and, well, I guess in television that are not doing great. Okay, moving on. Star Fox 64 is being remastered. Were you a Star Fox fan ever?
Not really. I played the first one on Super Nintendo. Or no, was it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, but it had the Super Effects chip. That's what it was, right? Yeah. I played that first one. I'm also not really an N64 guy. I don't know what I'm doing here on the show. but I know a lot of people are really excited about it. I understand there's some controversy about the character models in this remake.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people prefer an older version. I think like what I heard most recently was like, why didn't they just use the same Fox McCloud from the Super Mario Odyssey movie?
That's a very good point. Yeah. Yeah. And they gave an answer to that, but I don't think it was a very good one. I forget exactly what they said. Something about one or the other is more or less expressive. And since you can be a furry and chat with your friends as the characters with your Nintendo camera, that I forget. Like, it was something about expression. But
okay. Something about selling that camera.
Yes. And well, you can use any camera, but I'm sure people would just default to just buy the Nintendo one. And
I did buy it, but I haven't used it yet.
That's
like I knew I would.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone did, I think. But people didn't really realize that when the Switch 2 launched and you could chat with your friends, I think it's because no one has yet hit the C button.
I hit it on accident all the time.
Well,
it's like, who's chatting? I'm like, dang it.
The way all your friends look at the bottom of the screen already with any Nintendo chat is how it looks when your colleagues in Star Fox would talk to you. Like they would pop up on the bottom of the screen. So it already kind of mimicked that in, the operating system. So that was kind of a cool foresight they had there. I loved Star Fox 64, I bought it. I got the Rumble Pack with it, and it blew my mind at the time. I couldn't believe I was playing this game. There's not much more to say about it other than I forget if this was a Game Club game yet. If not, it will be sometime.
I couldn't tell you, but I would suspect some Star Fox game was.
Yeah, I think the first one was. If not the second one for the mini classic.
I mean, I could literally tell you if I looked it up, but
That's
I'm
a
not
lot
gonna
of
do
work.
that right
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot of dead air.
But let's see here. Oh God, the dumbest article of the episode is someone got the Wiimotes working on a Dreamcast via Bluetooth. So that's a thing
They sure did.
that you could do.
I thought it was an interesting demo. I did look at the video, and I appreciate that they had a video demonstrating it rather than just an article explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand why they did this. There's never been any like motion control Dreamcast games, right? There was never any kind of motion controller for it.
Not that I could think of.
I think that they're trying to translate the motion controls to like regular D-pad or analog controls, and I think it doesn't work that well. I think they said that the controller input frame rate is pretty low, like to the point where you can't play anything with it. But I think it would be interesting enough, though, just to have the Bluetooth connectivity, so you can use like your Nintendo Switch Pro controller or like a PS5 Pro controller or something, and maybe there's some sort of firmware that you can use to map buttons that you need to or whatever. But I don't understand why the Wii controller specifically.
It'd be cool if you could use it as a light gun situation, so you could have an LCD light gun thing happening, but I don't even know if that's possible. If you'd have to recompile the game or something for that. But yeah, so that's a thing that happened. That's pretty much like all our news items this episode. It was a really strange news week, huh?
Well, we do have one more, which is the reference from the top of the show, which again, not as dumb as the Wiimote connecting to the Dreamcast Bluetooth, but also another like, why would you do this? This guy or girl, I didn't check. This person built their own dial-up ISP with a Raspberry Pi.
Oh yeah, it's Jeff Geerling. Yeah, it's a guy. He's a YouTuber. Yeah,
and it's just something only a super nerd would do, and only a super nerd would love, and I do love it. But it was pretty cool. So he uses this Raspberry Pi in a phone line simulator and a modem to create the server side, and then his client side is just his computer, right? And it's got to be able to do dial-up though, or be able to work with dial-up internet. So he has a iBook G3 that he connects wirelessly to an Apple Airport, which is the original one, the silver one. It looks kind of like a UFO. That one had a modem built into it, so that's where he's doing the dial-up. Then it's wireless to the iBook. Yeah, I think he also did it with a PowerBook and like a PC card for wireless. But they both worked. The problem is, what are you going to browse? So he uses a proxy server called Mac Proxy Classic, and that kind of strips out things like JavaScript and stuff that are in most websites these days. So you can kind of browse the internet as is, but a little bit more of a true experience was the Wayback Machine extension that you can put in the browser, and then you can just like go back to 1999, and then it'll let you browse the web as it was in 1999. So that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I wish I could do that every day. I didn't realize that first airport base station had a modem built in. That's wild.
Yeah, the second one did as well. It looked very much the same, but it was white. But there was 3 different versions. One of them had the modem. One of them didn't, and then the third one also gave you the option to do power over Ethernet.
Oh wow, nice.
So I don't know why I know all these things. I had the one that did not have the modem and did not have power over Ethernet. I think that was the cheapest one because fewest components.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all right. That is our news of the episode. Nah, like I said, kind of a weird news week. And also kind of a weird me week because I just woke up. So this is the first human interaction you're hearing of me from the day. If I sound quiet,
it'll
this
be
morning,
the best too.
Exactly. It's all downhill from here. But for Game Club, so it was a listener that recommended a few different Evercade carts because I put into our Discord, like my next game will be played on Evercade. So who was it? I think it was Terry Bucket, right?
Yeah, it was. And when I met up with him, I was like, oh man, you're going to get kicked out of the Discord for this one.
Well, he didn't specifically say this game.
No, he didn't.
And so I have the Toaplan Evercade carts. There are a few. And Toaplan is a, prolific game developer company. And I didn't want to pick one of their top games, which I just should have. We should just start there with the best games.
Right.
And they weren't really known for their side-scrolling or beat-em-up games, so I figured I'd try one of those. It kind of looked like an Amiga-type game. So I chose Demon's World. And it was released in 1989. And so, after this game, when this game existed, so did, Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that. So that's what they're going up against with this gem of a game. This was an arcade, and it had a PC Engine CD port, which I did not play.
Bummer. I was going to ask you about that.
But this game plays like a poor Commodore 64 game. It was released by Taito, I think only in the States. I could be wrong. But yeah, so the Demon King released a ton of ghosts and monsters upon the world, and you're a ghost hunter, just like the Ghostbusters. And so it's your problem to go fix. It's auto-scroller, which I thought was an interesting choice. It was unexpected to me. I just looked at screenshots before picking the game, and it did not look like it would be auto-scrolling. And I think that is my biggest problem with the game. So this is, like I said, a side-scrolling, I guess shooter, not beat 'em up. It kind of looks like a beat 'em up, but it's more of a Contra-type shooter. You can platform up a level or two, or stay on the ground while you're running through the cityscape, shooting monsters and stuff. And it has this weird double jump that is not a normal double jump where you could hit the jump button again anytime during the jump. You tap it twice quickly, and it ends up being just a max height type jump where you could get up to the top levels. And I think it would have just been easier if you just would hold down the jump button if you wanted to go higher.
Right.
It was a weird mechanic. Just like Contra, you could get power-ups. My favorite in this one was the laser. You really destroyed some demons with that thing.
Yep.
And the reviews for this were pretty accurate. It was kind of a 6 out of 10 game. People thought it was fine. They had nothing to do with, no problems with it. If you didn't have thousands of games at your disposal, we have all these retro collections, and like you said, the Atari Go thing. We just have so many amazing games to play. But back in the day, if you bought this at the store, I don't think you would be upset. I think you would get good at it. You would have fun with it. Once you get used to the double jump, it actually plays pretty well. And it is that kind of shooter where you do have to, I guess Super Contra would be the closest. You do have to memorize when maybe something's going to jump out, so you maybe won't go that far on the screen at that point. So yeah, it's a fine game. The graphics are good. The sound is fine. Like I said, it looks like an Amiga game, but plays more like a C64 game. I guess I chose kind of poorly. I wrote that line in our notes before I played it longer, and I do think, like, if you play this game and you know that about the double jump and you get it, I think you'll enjoy it. Yeah. So
Yeah, I think what you said earlier, like if you had bought this as a kid, although, well, I guess for the PC Engine you could have, but like if you had spent your allowance on that, I think you would not give up on it so quickly and probably get good at it.
and enjoy it. Like, there is a lot there to enjoy.
Yeah.
And so I tried to mix it up. I should have just picked one of their heavy hitting games, but I didn't. So sorry. What are your notes on this one?
I thought it was pretty interesting. First of all, I went in with very low expectations because of what you had said, and I think what Terry had said. But I thought it was interesting, partly because it is a continuously scrolling run and gun, but you go from like one stage to the next, and the only way you really know that you're on another stage is the music changes, and then I mean the background and the enemies change as well, but it's not like there's like a dividing line or like a stage clear kind of thing. You just keep going through this whole game. The whole thing just keeps going. I think there's I did kind of skim a long play because I was curious because I never got to a boss. I didn't play it that long. I also played it on a sketchy website using keyboard controls, so not optimal.
Yeah.
But look, I think there was like 3 bosses or maybe 4 in the arcade. What I did like also was when you die, you keep your weapon. So it's not like Contra where you're just left with your little pea shooter or whatever. The checkpoints are pretty decent. I did like the various weapons. I kept accidentally getting the bombs though, and those were terrible because you have to like you throw them and so then they fall. So if you want to shoot something across the screen, you've got no chance of hitting it.
Yeah, or there's a lot of guys up in the air or on a higher platform. You just can't get them with the bombs.
Right.
And don't you shoot or you wait? It's like a timed power up where you could wait for it to change to something you want.
Yeah. It cycles through, but I kept getting the timing off.
Yeah, me too.
Always, or I would accidentally jump into it or whatever. But what else did I have to say? Oh, I couldn't figure it out. Sometimes it seemed like you could get hit and we're okay. But most of the time, if you got hit, you didn't. But like every once in a while, I'd like bump into something and I'd like have a couple of frames of invincibility or something. That's what it looked like anyway. I don't know if I was. But I
ran into that too. I couldn't figure it out.
All right. I was going to ask if you played the PC Engine port, but you said you didn't.
No, I don't own that one.
I looked into that a little bit. I guess it was called Horror Story in Japanese because it's Japan only. And it looks like they added extra bosses. It looks like there's a boss at the end of every stage for that, which kind of underscored a thought that I had about before I looked at that. I was thinking that the arcade version seems like one of those games that probably had a better home port. Like for me, Rygar and Bionic Commando, for example, if those come to mind, where they were fine in the arcade, but the home ports are completely different and much better, in my opinion. This one, it doesn't look that much different, doesn't play that much different, but they did add extra bosses. And for me, I would appreciate that. I like to have the bosses to kind of separate the stages.
Yeah, there wasn't, unless I'm remembering wrong, but there wasn't a big intro too. It really just dropped you in and said shoot stuff. You really had to look up the story.
Gotta really want to know that story. Did you want to talk about Terry's feedback here? Or
yeah, I want to just go through it now since he didn't suggest this game. We're not throwing him on the... That was all me. He just listed his favorite Evercade carts.
Right, yeah. So you had asked on the Discord for some recommendations for Evercade carts, and he gave a very thorough list of them. And so he said that since you picked this, because I guess also in the Discord, you're like, this might not have been a great pick. But he said that since you picked it, that he figured he should play the game since he inadvertently recommended it. And he played up to the first 2 stages and just decided to stop there. He thinks the auto-scrolling adds a fun element to the shoot 'em up. I don't disagree. That didn't bother me. And he enjoyed the enemy and world variety with some decent graphics and strange monsters. like what appeared to be a vampire Cyclops hybrid. I don't think I got that one. That's pretty funny. He was incredibly amused to discover that you could kill enemies by jumping on their heads, showing that the devs wanted to capitalize on the popularity of Mario and Ghostbusters at the same time. Yeah, that tracks. More games should do this. Yeah, I don't really know. Nothing comes to mind off the top of my head of other games where you can jump on enemies.
I feel like if an enemy is shooting at you or has a weapon of any kind, touching them shouldn't hurt you unless maybe they hold you for a long time, like,
or they're like a lava monster.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a positive for this game.
Yeah, totally. He says more positives include checkpoints feeling decently spaced. I agree with that. Not losing weapons or power-ups upon death, and laughing every time he collected 2 P's and his screen said pee-pee.
Nice.
The negatives are pretty major. He says the double jump is highly inconsistent. I found that as well. I never got the hang of the double jump.
I got it. Yeah, for some reason that worked for me. But
when I first started playing, I was like, what are these guys talking about? The double jump is easy. And then suddenly I couldn't do it anymore. So. And he says, there's not a lot of platforming that requires the double jump, so that's good. But he died too many times from not getting the second jump that he expected. And there's a lack of directional shooting. Yeah. So you get the 3-way gun and you do everything in your power not to lose it. And moving forward is incredibly OP compared to every other gun. If you have the 3-way gun, he means. And then lastly, while the checkpoints are well spaced, each level is just a little bit too long, and the resulting boss fights do not feel like a challenge or reward. I agree, and I think it's because you go through like 3 levels and then get a boss, right? And then it's 3 levels and get a boss. And on the PC Engine, there's just more bosses in there. Unless I watched some weird arcade long play where most of the bosses were somehow skipped. But
oh yeah, there could have been like some cheats or something. Interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you want to move on to Neo Turf Masters?
Yeah.
Sure. So this was developed by, big surprise, SNK for the Neo Geo. This was also picked by Neo NES from the last episode, but it was released in early 1996, and it's a golf game. I don't know about you. Do you like real golf?
No, I do like video golf more than real golf.
Well, there's a wide chasm there for me because I played golf quite a bit as a kid because my parents played golf, and I hate it. It's not a fun game to me at all. It seems like an expensive way to get a sunburn, but I do like playing video game golf quite a bit, and I did like this one. To kind of jump ahead, I liked it, but I didn't get a whole lot of time with it, and I wanted to give Neo NES's pick a real try. So rather than play it on Arcade Archive for like 5 minutes, I bought the ACA Switch port.
That's hardcore. You are dedicated to the show.
I mean, it was like $8. I'll send you the invoice.
Yeah.
But I immediately regretted that because I have 3 Switches. The Switch 2, the original Switch, and my OLED Switch. And I gave my original Switch to my kids because if they break it, not that big a deal. I don't want them to use my OLED Switch. But I'm in the middle of playing Resident Evil 9 on my Switch 2, so I didn't want to use that. So I was trying to use my OLED Switch, and I have the original one and the Switch 2 linked for the virtual cards, and it would not let me play on the OLED Switch.
Oh my God.
So I had to like unlink them and then link the OLED, and so there's all this like hassle to play it. So I started playing it, played it one night. It was pretty fun. I'll get into that in a second. And then the next day, my son's like, I can't play Portal anymore on my Switch. So so I had to like undo and redo everything again. And I was looking into it, and there's supposed to be some way that you can do an online verification check. And I like enabled that. Can't get it to work.
Nintendo's so I didn't really get copyright is stupid.
Yeah, it's like, stupid. Yeah, it's so limiting. But anyways, I did get to play it for a bit, and I did like it. But I had a few comments on it. First of all, this is that Switch port specifically, why do they map the A button to the Y button? Just make the A button the A
just
button.
Make it, yeah.
Right? So I went and remapped things so they made more sense, but There's a pretty good tutorial when you first start it up about, how to hit with power, correcting for a slice and a hook and all that stuff. And it goes quickly, but it is thorough. And then you get to choose from 6 players. I picked the technician. That seemed like somebody who might be very technical and therefore good at golf. I don't know if it really matters what character you pick or not, but there was 4 courses to pick from. I chose Japan. It seemed like it would probably be the most interesting.
Japan. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a straightforward golf game. You time it right to get the power that you want. And then there's the secondary one, which is like, are you hitting it good or not? And I didn't find it too difficult to hit around where I was trying to, but the courses became quite difficult. And so you really had to be pretty exact with those. I don't like the shot timer. Like you have, like, it's kind of like hurrying you up to take the shot. And so it's adding a little bit of stress. I don't like that, but I get it because it was originally an arcade game. They don't want people spending a bunch of time on one quarter to play this game. I didn't realize that I'm not sure that this is a golf rule, but I had a par 3. I accidentally hit it in the water on the first shot, right? So you got to take it over again, right? And there's a penalty. What I thought was a 1-stroke penalty. Next shot on the green, third shot in the hole. I swear it said 3. And then it's like, bogey, you lose, because it was 1 over par. And I was like, how? Like, so if you hit it in the water, it's a 2-stroke penalty and you got to take it over. I don't know.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah. So that I was pretty mad about that. And then I started doing very poorly because I think that's how the game is designed, to make the courses a lot more difficult. But if you're 3 over par, you have to give up the hole. Like you can't. I mean, I think it's 10. I think at 10 you're supposed to stop. But if it's a par 3 and you're at 6, they make you give up. So I know that they're trying to hurry it up to get more quarters, but it seems a little unfair to me. And then I want to hear what you have to say, but I also have a question for you. I just wanted to know did you spend any time on the Neo Geo Pocket Color version?
No, I meant to, and I just didn't get a chance.
I should have at least tried to find a video, but I did not.
Because I mean, so I have it here. I should have just done it.
No excuse.
I know. I agree with everything you said.
I love it.
It took me forever to find this game because it just recommending Big Tournament Golf to me, and I was really upset that I have 10? I literally think 10 Neo Geo collections for the Switch, and this game wasn't on any of them until I did some Googling, and Big Tournament Golf is the air quotes international name for this game, which I guess people on Reddit were complaining that if you bought this originally, it was called Neo Turf Masters, but then there was an update that literally renamed it on your Switch to Big Tournament Golf. Really strange. Yeah. So I don't know if that's accurate. It's on Reddit, so who knows?
So the one that I bought the other day was Neo Turf Masters.
Okay. Maybe it's in the collection then that you were talking about.
Yeah, maybe.
So, which would be weird because it's still ACA, so I don't know.
Maybe they're trying to sell that one-off version too.
Oh, yeah. It's so strange. But, so, thank God I figured that out. It took me an embarrassingly long time to sort that out. It's a good game. I had fun playing it. I'm glad NeoNess recommended it because, it's rare that any of us pick sports games.
Right. This is about as sportsy as I get.
Yeah. Like every once in a while, around August or September, he would, do a football game. But that's like as close as we got, really. The first 2 or 3 courses are really forgiving, and I really appreciated that. It made you feel like you knew how to play the game, and it got you used to it a little bit. And then it really ramped up quickly. I was pretty impressed with the controls. It plays like any other golf game. You know, it has that that same mechanic, the hit the button twice mechanic.
Yeah.
But they did it. I feel like this is the most tight version of that. And the power meter, so I guess that would be the first button you press. Yeah. When you're getting closer to the green, but you're not quite on it, so you have to pick your club and then not use full power. It'll tell you how many yards or meters or whatever you are away from the hole, but your gauge isn't like that. It's just a green, yellow, red heat map kind of. And so you don't know, unless you sunk a million quarters in this thing, you can't gauge that well.
I mean, it doesn't have a percentage, which would be ideal, but they will tell you how far you can hit with the club that you've selected. So if you're like 100 yards away and the club says you can hit it 140 yards, then I don't know, you're trying to hit around 60-ish%.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what they're trying to get you to do, is like do some quick math in your head. They don't want to make it super easy because they want your quarters.
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice that part. But also, like, I think this is the first golf game I ever switched clubs in. I'm just always like, I'll just use this one because I know how far I can hit. On the first course in Japan, I almost got, on my first playthrough, so the first button I hit in the game, I almost got a hole in one. It was like teetering on the hole. It's like, oh, I got this game. And, around course 4 or 5, it went horribly. The amount of voices in this game is very surprising to have all that on a cartridge.
Yeah.
And the amount of sprite animation is just fantastic. Like, there are so many frames per swing. And yeah, I would highly recommend this game. But at the same time, someone could have pulled a switcheroo on me and put a different golf game in front of me, and I probably wouldn't have noticed.
Right.
Unless it was like Mean 18 for the Apple II. So yeah, thank you, Neo Ness, for choosing that one. What do you want to play next?
I am going to go back to the Mega Man well and go with Mega Man 2 for the NES, not to be confused with Mega Man Roman numeral 2 for the Game Boy. I think that's most people's favorite Mega Man game. It's just been a long time since I've played it. And if I'm being fully honest, I'm working on a bit of a Mega Man thing for my show. So I kind of want to play through some of the classics.
So wait, this is the NES one, right?
This is the NES one, not the Game Boy one.
So greatest music ever made.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do not let me forget to bring up the dark theory about this game when we talk about it.
Okay.
So, there's a lot happening in pop culture lately that has to do with video games. There's Mortal Kombat, there's Street Fighter, there's He-Man, there's Star Fox, there's Mario, and Top Gun turned 40 2 days ago.
Ah, yes.
So I was like, I'm going to troll all that and not pick anything from that. However,
I was going to say.
However, I really got into my analog 3D this week and last week. I was really down on the N64, and my controller was really bad, and I blamed that. So I ordered a stick replacement by Hori, and it is just horrible. It is just bad. All these people online recommended it.
Horrible.
It's very bad. There's a company, I forget the name of it. I think it's called Steel Stick, and they make short runs of a full steel, even like the bowl that your stick goes into is steel, and that's supposed to be fantastic. So I put I signed up to their email list so when they do another run of those. But then I realized I had the Switch Online Nintendo 64 controller, and that works with the analog 3D very, very well.
Perfect.
And wow, did I get better. I thought I was just like an old man bad gamer, and no, I am not. And I did a lot better, and I started enjoying the N64 again. And my favorite game out of the 5 I think I played this week, I am choosing, and it is not a troll. I am going with Star Wars because Mandalorian starts this week, and it is Shadow of the Empire.
Nice. I haven't played that one. Well, because I haven't played pretty much anything for the N64.
I doubt that one is on Switch Online, right? Because that would have to be a licensed.
Oh yeah. I'll figure something out.
So yeah, if any of our listeners play Mega Man 2, pronounce Mega Man 2, not Mega Man 2.
Correct.
Or Star Wars Shadow of the Empire, or if you play Neo Turf Masters or any Toa Plan game, you probably don't want to play Demon's World. Play it. It's good. If you use dial-up internet, or you somehow use Wiimotes on your Dreamcast, play Star Fox 64, or if you acquire the rest of Wizardry, please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email at retrogameclub.net, or do some socials. Our link tree's in there. Get in on the Discord. It's very active lately, actually. Getting a lot of new people in there. It's fun.
I also, if you know how to get games going on 3 switches,
Yes.
please email.
If you are a wizard, yeah. If that's even possible. Nintendo will just think you're pirating somehow. But Hugh writes in, and he says, I asked the question of the episode, what retro console should Analog tackle next? And he says he personally thinks the PlayStation Portable, the PSP. The component adapter for the PSP doesn't scale to full screen. Yeah, it still requires a working battery, which could be difficult with older PSPs. It's one of the few systems where you still get good games for really cheap, and be nice to have a way to play UMD movies on the TV. Since Analog likes money, he assumes they'll tackle the PlayStation 2 or the GameCube. Since its launch day, GameCube died, he would really appreciate the latter. And I thought about that, and I agree with that a new GameCube would be incredible. And last night, well, sitting in front of the TV and having my phone in my hand, I did a little armchair research, and you could still get the 750 PowerPC line CPU from DigiKey.
Really?
So if Analog just sourced those, which the GameCube used, and maybe just use FPGA for the ATI GPU, that they could do it.
Is the 750 PPC, is that old stock, or are they still making those?
It looked like they were still making them.
Wow. Okay.
So maybe,
it's got to be some other application that I'm unaware of.
I know that for a long time, and I hope one of our listeners knows the answer to this, but this is I'm not saying this is the reason. This is just something I know, that for a long time, satellites used older PowerPC because they made a really, radiation insensitive protected line of them. So even like the walkers, or the whatever we sent the Mars to drive around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. The rover?
Yeah, those were all old PowerPC chips.
Interesting. Yeah. When you send stuff into space, you got to worry a bit more about radiation.
Yeah.
Don't want to be flipping bits.
It's probably something more simple, like stupid cheap toys you buy on Alibaba use old PowerPC chips or something.
Yeah, I was thinking, maybe like for CNC router or something, like some kind of like industrial equipment maybe, or something, but I don't know. That's just complete conjecture on my part. I do want to say though, I really like Hugh's answer, because I read his email and must have forgotten it. So it's like, like some other handheld would be cool, but what one haven't they really tackled with the that you couldn't just do with the analog pocket?
Mm-hmm.
But PSP, good example.
Now I should say that hacking and rooting your PlayStation Vita is probably the best illegal thing you could do with your day, because the latest hacks on it, I mean, a year or two old now, but you literally get a menu and you could just, with a click of a button, it downloads any Vita, PSP, or PlayStation 1 game. And so you don't have to spend any time looking for ROMs or anything like that. It just does the thing for you, and it makes it so it plays great. So if you do want to play video game or PSP games before then, hack your Vita. It'll make your day happy.
It's illegal.
Yeah, it's a little illegal. Yeah, imagine Sony coming after this podcast for that.
Well, I mean, they got to go all the way to Australia for you.
There's a Sony building here. Down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, they're listening. Let's see, Hugh, thank you for that email. We do have some socials, right?
That's correct. Answering the question, what retro console would you like to see Analog tackle next? Starsky writes in, and he says Tiger Electronics, and then kind of marked that it was sarcastic. And he jokes, but you can put the Tiger Game & Watch games, the Tiger games and the Game & Watch games on the Analog Pocket. And I haven't done it myself, but I looked into that. Mm-hmm. It looks really cool. I kind of want to do it. I'm sure those games aren't that awesome to play, but
I did it, and I loaded it, and I was like, cool, this is a thing.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. I'm not sure it'd be worth my effort, but Terry Baca writes in again here, and he says that it's time for Analog to enter the realm of CDs. So he suggests starting with the Sega CD. I think we got a lot of CD answers here. PNW Eric says the Dreamcast, Sega CD, or Saturn. Maybe Neo Geo stuff. The Gamers Week podcast had talked about about them doing a Neo Geo system when they. Sorry, let me back up for a second. We give them a question on the show. We give them this one, and then they answer it on the show. So we have a little bit of crossover. So when they were talking about it on the show, somebody else said Neo Geo, but it turns out, and that they looked this up in real time, that Analog's first console, I think, was the CMVS around 2011. So they've already done that, but
it wasn't FPGA though. It was, I think, sourced parts. It was like
that's interesting. Okay,
yeah, it was like converted MVS.
Yeah, they don't sell it anymore. So, and I was also going to say it would be good to have competition with the Neo Geo Plus, and especially since I think that if Analog were to make it, you could probably run ROMs, whereas it doesn't look like you can do that without a flash cart for the Neo Geo Plus.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we always like to put our questions after, we always like to put our answers after everyone else's, because back in the day, before we did that, it made it to me sound like we said our things first, and then listeners we took their ideas, but no, they're separate, so we go last, and it has nothing to do with taking the listeners' ideas or anything. But I put the Sega Neptune. Let me play Genesis, 32X, and CD. Do the thing. And yeah,
that was the unreleased.
Yeah, yeah. Thing, right? And the Neptune didn't have a CD drive, but still, it'd be nice if they put the CD in there. But even if they just let it do 32X, that would be amazing. But I kind of like Hughes' PSP. I think that's the answer.
Mm-hmm. I had a very similar answer to you, where I said an updated Sega console, because they already did one, right, for Genesis stuff. But an updated one that could take Sega CD, 32X, and Saturn games as well. So basically your idea plus the CD-ROM, which you also said. As far as I know, Dreamcast can't be done via FPGA yet, but wasn't that the case for the N64 for a while too? And when there was the rumors that they were going to do an FPGA N64, wasn't there it can't be done?
But and then the Mister took care of that. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that too. Yeah, yeah. So anyways, I had a similar answer to Hughes as well about the GameCube. I think it'd be interesting if they did a variation on that where maybe it was thin and flat and they can call it something else like the game plane or something, or sphere, the game sphere, and it's round. A real killer idea, I think, to pat myself on the back, a PS2 one that doubles as a Blu-ray player, not just a DVD player, and have built-in PS1 backwards compatibility. So
that would be great. Yeah.
It seems like we got a lot of answers that were disk-based systems. And couldn't you theoretically just make one system that you could change the cores on, like with the Pocket, right? It does all the different handhelds and other things.
That's the whole point of Polymega.
But it's not emulation. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So basically an FPGA Polymega.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see. Anyways.
But just yesterday, going back to the Neptune, there is a company. Let me see what they are called. I got this in my email. What are they? Game Care. They were supposed to release a Neptune in 2025, and then that got pushed back. They're I think they're from Spain or Andorra or something like that. They released a YouTube video in the past few days, and it's just because there hasn't been an update in a while, and it's just you see the guy's reflection. He's filming with his camera to the TV, and it's the Neptune playing Knuckles Chaotix.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you two people, but anytime I see the reflection of you, it really just, it doesn't work. It doesn't matter if you're beautiful or not. It just doesn't work. And then he like pans down. He did it this way so he could pan down and you could see that the Neptune's playing it. But they didn't, there was no description in the YouTube video. So there's no
That's weird.
detail other than the email he sent out. And the Neptune's not open. So even like you can't tell if that's actually what's playing it. You can't tell if there's an actual FPGA in there. So
right.
I hope, I don't want any ill will to any company. I don't want, anything bad to happen. I hope it releases and it's awesome. But yeah, we will see. But we may get a Sega Neptune that way. But anyway, sorry, that was another tangent.
No, that's fine. We do have one more piece of social feedback here regarding the previous question, what games you started multiple times but never finished. And this is from Retro Gaming Dev. And he says, sadly, this happens with a lot of retro RPGs for me. I've restarted Final Fantasy III, aka 6, and Chrono Trigger numerous times over the years. I generally get a ways in, but fall off eventually. He says that he back in the day that he beat them both though. So I'm like, it sounds like you did finish. As for newer games, The Forest and Sons of the Forest. I started many times, yet finished. Man, me either. I did want to say, I'm sorry I missed that one because that feedback was from before we recorded the last episode. I just missed it. That was on like Threads or something. And I just want to say that's on me, but the best way to get your feedback in for the show is email or Discord. I don't miss those. So I'm sorry that I often neglect social media, but
it happens.
I'll get to it eventually.
You'll eventually, see it. It'll get read sometime.
So you want to put up the next question?
The next the next question of the episode is there a game collection that hasn't been released yet? Weird or stupid answers are totally welcome. But it's just because, like, I see all these Evercade carts and all these, like, new collections that are on the Switch. And, collections have been coming out, since really, I guess that really got big around the 32-bit era, right?
Mm-hmm. I got a good answer. I'll save it for the next one, though.
Nice.
Well, I don't know if it's a good answer. I got an answer that I like.
So, yeah, next question of the episode. Is there a game collection that hasn't been released yet?
I should also check to see if it's been released.
And also, feel free to get creative on it. It just doesn't have to be, a certain company or, however they usually do it. All right. Anything else?
I did just want to bring up one other thing because I don't remember if I brought it up before. On my show, absolutely the best podcast, A Work in Progress. I don't remember if I've plugged that here or not, that we did a Capcom versus Marvel ranking show.
I don't think you did.
So all the fighting games for Capcom, not all of them, it was like 6 of them, whatever's in the first fighting collection series. So that was a couple of months ago at this point, probably. So I'll put a link in the show notes if I remember to do that. But
does that include the X-Men game, the X-Men fighting game?
So there's X-Men Children of the Atom. I can't remember all of them now. The first one's Children of the Atom, and then it's like Street Fighter versus Marvel, and then there's a few of them like that. But it's all like they're basically all Street Fighter Alpha 2 with different skins on them and different crazy things happening. So it's all that kind of fighting, like versus fighting, not the beat 'em ups, which I would have preferred personally.
I remember seeing for the first time, I think it was Capcom versus Marvel 2.
Yep.
Is that the one where like you can end up way up in the air for a long time?
There's a few, you can do that on a few of them. Capcom versus Marvel 2 was the 6th of the ones that we ranked. Okay. And that one's like, that's like the only one that's on the CPS System 2 instead of the System 1 or something. It's the only one that's a different, no, it's a different board. All of the other ones are CPS System 2, and then that one's a different one. And they just went like crazy with it.
I remember I didn't feel smart enough to play that game. I was just like, there is too much going on.
I didn't feel smart enough to play most of those games, but the other people on the show were a lot better at talking about it than I was.
Fighting games are a skill. Yeah.
We just went through them all, and you assign a certain number of points to them, then we add them up at the end, and that's the rank. So it's a lot of fun.
I love it. People should check that out. And please put a link in the show notes. And people should play Shadow of the Empire and Mega Man 2. Not Mega Man 2. Play Mega Man 2.
Correct.
I think that wraps it up.